Welcome to the show. Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody podcast.
All right.
And we not outside because we are inside.
That sounds almost like a slogan.
I know, we not outside because we inside.
Toasty and warm.
There we go. So we gonna step right in it. You know, as I said, step instead of hop. But we're gonna step right in it, but don't get none on you.
Okay.
We want to talk about new friends, especially now that we are in our 40s and we have to put dimensions around, like, how do you find new friends?
Or do you even find new friends?
Have you ever really had friends?
Yeah. Are they just around you because it's convenient?
Let's talk about it a little bit. Let's get into it.
Oh.
I'm going to do a little Google search because this is live and we have video, we could do it. But we did an episode a while ago about the 3 types of friends.
Oh, yeah.
According to
Is it Aristotle?
It was Aristotle, yeah. Right? And we did it. And I just wanna call it up accurately so we can make sure we have the proper reference. And
it's like utility, friends of pleasure, and then
I'm looking up
real friends.
So according to Aristotle, there's 3 types of friends. You have friends of utility, right? And those are truly it's really a transactional relationship, right? Like I need this from you. You need this from me. We both understand that. Once this is done, I'll see you when I see you. And then you have friends of pleasure, right? So friends of pleasure are people you are friends with because you enjoy spending time with them and find them entertaining. So again, there's not necessarily an emotional connection, but there's like a visceral feeling of warmth that you get from being around that other person or being in their presence, and there's some commonality there. But again, there's not like an undying love or affection per se, or, you know, when they say no love lost, but, you know, you do have something in common. So, and then you have friends of virtue. So these people you are friends with because you admire their character and values, and they encourage you to be a better person, right? So there's an element of deeper emotional connection with your friends of virtue. As they say, these are people that at their core admire your character, you admire theirs, and you encourage each other to be better people. When we think about these types of friendships, it got us thinking about like our life now as adults, and obviously we know our torrent love affair that began back in college and where we're at now. But you talk about new friends and how you spend your time. It's not, I don't think it's where we thought we would be. Not saying we're in a bad place, but I can speak for me. It's not what I thought it would be.
I definitely agree with it. I definitely thought just from watching shows, and I put this attribute to the same thought I thought like what high school would be like. Like in high school, I thought it would just be like mad, like when you watch Say the Bell, you think it's going to be like mad friends and y'all going to be doing quirky stuff and someone's going to cheat on a test, and then the cute like basketball player is going to talk to you and it's just going to be tons of fun. And then that doesn't actually happen that way. The same with college. And I know just from watching shows, like it just always seemed like people had like groups of friends that they're hanging out with. It's kids running around at the events. And and that does kind of happen. No,
not in the way. I look at it like this. It does. And it doesn't, right? I think, like you said, Saved by the Bell. I used to watch Parker Lewis. I don't know if anybody else used to watch that show. Parker Lewis Can't Lose. Oh, my goodness.
Who's the main character?
Parker Lewis.
Who's the actor?
I don't know his name, but the character's name is Parker Lewis.
Oh,
my goodness.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, you had cable, so you had options.
Was that on PBS?
It was on Fox. It was a major show.
Maybe I need to look it up.
Yeah,
I see the picture.
Yeah, if you go, you got Google there. You can do it at your leisure.
Sorry, I don't care.
Some people say leisure. I know you don't. But anywho, there's always like people that were like, you felt like, well, when I grow up, I'm gonna have these cliques of friends, and we're always gonna be together, move together. and we're gonna just like have all these antics, like thought I'd be in band class like in Saved by the Bell, chewing bubble gum, and then blow a bubble through the trombone and all those other crazy stuff.
And you just get older and you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna be pregnant together. We're gonna have a joint baby shower and stuff like that.
And we had a play date, with our kids not too long ago, and one of my classmates from high school was there with their kids, and we were talking, and they asked me, do I miss high school? Would I do it over? I said, absolutely not. I said, for me, high school was tough. It was like an adjustment. It took me 2 years before I felt like just comfortable. And then probably by senior year is probably when I really probably last semester, senior year is when I got comfortable. And if I practically think about it, from high school, I have a lot of people that I'm connected to, obviously through our kids now. But there's probably 4 people from high school that I like genuinely speak with. And then, when we go to college, there's you. There's maybe 4 or 5 other people out of college that I consistently call, text, speak with, hang out with on somewhat of a semi-annual basis. And it's not quite the life that I thought I would have. I thought but for me, it's like putting a value on the quality of the friendships versus like kind of the quantity.
I think too, I think it's if you can like have like I don't want to say like a negative spin, but I think a lot of it too is just like how we are as like people. We're not gonna like if it's a group outing and it's like a movie we don't want to see. Like let's say it's a group outing to a movie. It's a group outing. It's a movie we don't want to see. It's at an inconvenient time. Like I feel like that's how people connect. They like go on those outings. They like show up all the time. They go to the trick or treat walk. They do. Mm-hmm. Whereas like if you're a person that's like this timing is not convenient, it's cold, I'm not going. Like you're not gonna have as many connections, and in some situations like you might be like the person's afterthought of like to invite you. I feel like a lot of times that's more the case, or you discover like, oh, y'all been hanging out super hard. You think like everybody, you think like you're all at the same level of like cool and hanging out, and then you discover like, wait, y'all just went on a trip. or y'all like, it's like, oh, y'all really like, y'all, I'm here, but y'all here.
And I think that's just a reality of, your adult life. You go back to the friends of utility premise, you realize that circumstance actually might bring you together, right? Like here it says people you are friends with because they are useful to you, like a coworker who can help you with the project, right? You realize in hindsight, as an adolescent, really going through teenage years, like you're just trying to cope and get through it all, and you don't realize that everybody is trying to do that. And then a lot of your relationships was based on, oh, we both ride the train together. So there's people I rode the train with every day that I was like, oh man, we're gonna be friends for life. Haven't talked to them since high school. Don't have to. Not missing anything. It'd be cool if I was like, hey, it's you. And, I think now we have social media, so I think sometimes I'm content enough just saying, oh, okay, they got married, or I don't see no pictures that they do it no more, so they're probably not married no more. But I think a lot of, as kids, even like, I look at our kids at their age right now, I think a lot of their friendships are friendships of utility because they're, you're in the same school, you're in the same daycare, you're riding the same bus. It's just that familiarity and proximity that brings you closeness, I think, a lot of times.
Yeah, I just think it's just not as easy to make new friends. I think that's when I don't like when people are like, no new friends, and like they have that, you hear that in a lot of like songs, no new friends. It's like, okay, like you don't trust anybody, like, but it is hard to, it's not as easy to like keep it going, I feel like, as it may have been in the past. It's just like either your kid changes schools, you move to another neighborhood. So I feel like more people are falling just in the friends of like pleasure. Like you might have some who are utility, but you might have some like, okay, we get together once a quarter or whatever, we hang out, but we're not going too deep. And I just feel like in order to be a friend of virtue, like you kind of got to spend like a lot of time together even to get to that level. It takes like, and you just ain't got it now. And
I feel you have to go through the first 2 layers to really get to that friends of that last layer. The idea of making a new friend just sounds like daunting to me because you're almost daunting. It's daunting more so for me because like, what's their angle? Like, why do you want to be in my life so hard? Do I need you in my life? And then the thing that I've learned, a lot of times you have to be willing to go along like with the group mentality to fall into these circles. And I think I have proven empirically that
that's what I'm saying.
that I am not. Like if I go on a trip, I don't need to match excursions with the whole crew. I don't necessarily need to go to dinner with the whole group. Like, like I'll see you when I see you. And then when I'm not, you're not. But I think some people interpret that as standoffishness and that I'm just there for the utility versus like the pleasure.
But most of the time, sometimes too, you might think they're deeper friends, but they could just be friends of pleasure. Like this is someone fun to hang out with.
Yeah.
They make me laugh. Okay, we like the same foods, but they not getting like deep into it. Like if you still don't know about somebody, what's really going on in somebody's life, and they don't know about yours, and that's really, I feel I'm more guarded. I'm more like, oh, you want to know everything going on with me, but I'm not hearing nothing about like your life. I'm gonna share the exact same amount as you share, and then just leave it at that. Or I feel too, you encounter people where it's like, oh man, we're really vibing. And then you'll like see them somewhere else and they won't even talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're like completely different.
Absolutely.
So it's like, oh man, are we cool? Like it's just too many layers. It's a lot of work. It truly is.
But for me, it's no different. It's the same exact work from high school to now. It's no different. And in my opinion, I think it's the same amount of work it took for me to make them 4 friends in 4 years of high school. Like deep friends. Like I say, a lot of great acquaintances and people and whatnot. But like the 4 friends I have, like it took a lot to get. And I can sum it up like this: if I look at our wedding party, right? Like my groomsmen, I consider that my tight circle. Like I know if I call, like I don't see them all because I think only 3 of us still live in Chicago. But within that, like to me, I consider those my closest confidant, my friends of virtue, right? Like they're going through some stuff. Like I know they call me when I go through stuff. I can call them. I know it's like everything is a vault with them. I feel like they call me out on my bullshit and like they have challenged me in some ways that I know have made me a better husband, father, across the board. But like it took me a long time to get those, and I can think since our wedding, which was going on 13 years, I think I maybe made one more friend that would maybe fall into that group. But I said maybe because I'm not sure yet. After 6 years.
Yeah, I think as you get older, you just don't trust people like that. It's just you've been burnt too many times. You be like, I've seen these patterns of behavior before. Like you almost, and maybe that's your own negative thought process in a way, but it's like, okay, I seen this pattern. Yeah. Okay, you literally at my house. You at my house talking shit about me to somebody else at my house. It's like, oh, okay.
I thought we was cool, but I guess not. This is definitely utility, which
I'm just like,
which ain't working both ways.
So I just think like I think people they just act different. As long as you can act consistent across the board, I think that's a good place to start. But it takes time and multiple encounters even to see if somebody's consistent, because everybody puts on a happy face in the beginning. It's the same as like a job interview. Everybody's like, and then you get the job and you're like, oh man, this is trash. Like can be like that with people. So,
and I think a lot of the energy, we spent in our 20s and 30s trying to make new friends. I think now that you have kids, that energy is with them. And to quote one of our previous guests, the great Quay, I think there's a level of comfort in my solitude, knowing that I'm content with the circle that I have. Like, in high school, I craved new friends. I feared being alone, right? Between having a wife, my kids, and the small circle I do have, and then the friends of utility I catch, like, it's cool. I think about, like, when we planned our wedding, looked at my wedding guest list, right? A lot of those people, if you redid your wedding today, probably wouldn't make the cut, but because you were coworkers and in proximity, and you were riding really hard for each other, and a lot of that is brought on because of circumstance. If you come forward, it wouldn't be the same situation. And then there was always this FOMO that like I'm missing out, or even deeper there is a fear that there was something wrong with me. The reality is we're all swimming in this same pond trying to figure it out. I think some people are more content swimming with that same school of fish just so they don't have that loneliness, or that's the way like they manage their friendships, and they go, but they're still polite along the way, and sometimes politeness can be confused for acceptance as a friend.
That's true. Sometimes people just be looking for something to do, and if you gonna offer them, they not finna say no.
That's
but
true.
They not really cool with you like that. I feel like that's the main thing. It's like, oh, you having a Super Bowl party? Yeah, I'm finna come.
Exactly.
Because I ain't got nowhere to go. But you really not cool with me like that. I just feel like that's more of the adult, and vice versa. Because if somebody invited me and I had nothing to go, I'ma go. But I just feel like that's more the path you might take in this period of like friendship. And then, but it can get deeper. I don't know how it plays out.
Yeah.
I feel like we sound like we're friendless.
No, not at all. I think, again, I'm comfortable with my life situation.
Yeah.
You know, I got my Vegas trip. That trip is actually growing. Again, I consider that my close circle that I have every year. I mean, I think the important part for us is like making sure we're building and maintaining our friendship. But I saw an interesting thing on IG the other day, you know, about that in and of itself. That's a whole new episode. But it's basically the general premise is it's like men, they say, you know, as much as men complain about marriage, they view their wives as their best friend. Men are more likely to say their wives are their best friend than women.
Oh.
And they say that's why that's why men tend to die earlier, because they put so much, like getting married, you put so much into it, and then you find out that the woman isn't in that same spot, and they carry on. Not like happily, but they carry on. But that's a whole nother episode we'll get into. But I think it's, you know, I don't think we're friendless. I think we've had to just filter through a lot of situations to realize what's a friendship versus what's a situationship versus like, oh, we both signed up for these three things, so I guess we should be cool. We should be cool and cordial, and if we can extend it, cool. But if not, cool.
Yeah, I think it's just tough with kids because people are competitive.
Yeah.
And maybe like once the kids get older and they're not in the mix, it'll be different friends.
I think it's different. You're always going to be looking to see what your kid is doing versus another or somebody else.
Start out here.
Yeah. We're coming up on our time, Joy. So, you know, we like to end each and every show with a little segment called Things We Wish We Would Have Known.
Do you have yours?
Yeah, I'll go with this one. Again, I think I've probably said it a few times on this show, but when it comes to new friends or getting, you know, creating friendships as adults, it's meant to be hard. It's hard on purpose, right? Because getting a friend, and really a friend of virtue, and probably pull the same clip from our previous episode, there's very few of those, right? You have to focus on the quality. You have to build trust. You have to have gone through something, and you have shown that you're trustworthy, and they've shown they're trustworthy and reliable, and you just really can lean on those to feel your, I guess, to really like feel your spirit. So you know the moments of solitude, you don't feel like you're missing out or excluded. So thing I wish we would have known is it's not about the volume of friends or having a clique or a circle, but it's the circle that you do have, really appreciating that and appreciating that the time that it took to build it and cherish that.
Yeah, I think the main thing, something I wish I would have known or that I still am learning, is just you should just have your own like set of boundaries and things you're just non-negotiables, like you're not gonna do. And I just feel like as you get older, you feel that's how you become one with the solitude, because you're like one with yourself instead of. When I was younger, I would randomly go out on Saturday at 7, even though I didn't want to, or whatever time it is. Yeah. Whereas now it's just like, this is inconvenient for me. And then now I feel like I got a different lens where I'm like, this only works for you. The way you set this up 100%. Only works for you. It doesn't work for nobody else. I am going to say no to this, and I'm not gonna feel bad about it.
And like, some people will never say no, and so
it's like I'm gonna be cool with it, or just like like those random rules where it's like if somebody invites you enough time to go, you should go. Yeah. If somebody invites you like the same day, don't go. If someone invites you a day before or last minute, don't go. It's like those random rules and stuff. Like, that's to protect myself because when people show if they value you and like what they do. Yeah. And that's how you got to move.
Yeah, when you're calling number 3.
When you're calling number 4.
It helps filter out a lot lot of stuff.
And everybody else got an invite, but you getting a text. It's like, oh, okay. Like, nah, I ain't got to do this. Yeah. It's all good.
Well, it's a lot to unpack with this thing, which I think we did a good job in the time that we spent.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody podcast. We out.